Thompson Productions.
All the anti-Semites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.
Is that correct? Let's get the camera going here. This is Tyler, LPR. We're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to put this up right here, the intro or the thumbnail. I mean, that should shock your conscience, people. We're going to talk about Ted Cruz. We're going to talk about the eyebrow man, a little bit how the war is going. I've got a plethora of clips we're going to be playing here. But first, we're going to have our intro. Let's go, everybody. See it?
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Hello, welcome, LPR. Tyler, sorry about the delay. Let's make sure everything's working here. We've got solo camera 1, solo camera 2. You get my side shot looking svelte. Yeah, let's go. It's just, look, people are in the chat already. I am very appreciative of that. Eddie Grimm's in there, Jordan's in there, JC made it on time. I said, yeah, 15-minute delay. Sorry about that. Just had to help my wife with some things. We have these pergola things in the backyard. You know, like it's a 10 by 20, and then we got another one that's in a different spot. Now these are metal ones, okay, but they actually look pretty nice. Maybe just take a picture of them. But they've got an opening at the top, and then at the bottom there's a plate, and I've actually bolted them to the concrete. These birds go up there to make nests, and they've fallen in. And my wife's spent like all day trying to get this bird out. I mean, this thing is, you know what, probably 8-9 feet high, and you know, this square tube that goes down, and she's put things down there to try to get the bird to be on it, and it's all, you can hear it just clanking. It's morbid. I'd like it out, and I put things above to like so that birds don't fall in there, but damn if they don't just do shit like that. You heard Lindsey Graham with the open. Let's play that again.
Anti-Semites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think.
Okay, they'll be with them to my dying day. Now, what's interesting, and people are putting that up, and they're like, you're going to be with Israel, and, you know what? And the people are like, but anti-Semites. It's like, okay. He's also said isolationists. So this anti-Semitism, I told you last week. I said this. It's like we've been preparing this war and all this propaganda. We've been preparing for it. We've been inoculating you. You've come to the point, at least watching this channel, of basically taking into all these comments. To at some point, you're like, oh yeah, you call me an anti-Semite all you want. It means nothing. And we're gonna play some more stuff, which it's more and more crazy. But you know what you can do? You can just say, so be it. And what is fascinating, and I know people have problems with this because you're like, oh, Islam bad. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm not a fan of that. But does that mean then that, are you saying there's a hierarchy of religions? Okay, well, of course, you know, and I put Islam at the bottom. Okay, fine. Is that a legal standard, or is that just your opinion? Oh, it's just your opinion. Okay, so I can have my own opinion, right? I could put different hierarchies of religion. So if I put Judaism below Islam, do you have a problem with that? Oh, that's anti-Semitic. Okay, I see what's happening here. This is a crazy town we're in here. I'm gonna just knock off on a bunch of stuff. I thought, oh no, I'm not gonna get there yet. But I thought that we would actually play. I just saw this come to through my feed. First of all, Laura Loomer is scary looking, but this is a thing that, no, my dog's already crying. My wife just took the other dogs out of the room. It can suck it. Let's play this here.
Precious metals company Goldco.
The only precious metal dealer I trust.
I buy gold and silver from Goldline.
We spent months looking into the gold IRA industrial complex.
Don't ignore a physical asset like gold or silver.
And its relationship with conservative media. What we found shocked us.
Birchgold.com/Bannon.
DineshGold.com. American Hartford Gold. I buy gold from them.
In exchange for huge payouts, some of the most famous names in conservatism have consistently, over years, directed their viewers to gold companies that exploit them. In some cases, these companies were outright scams with outrageous terms and shocking margins. The primary target of all of this is the elderly. But these companies and their advertising strategies are so effective that people from every walk of life have been lured and have lost millions. We spoke to the victims of this, and we spoke to the insiders. This is the great gold scam.
Okay, to me that just looks interesting because I know there's problems out there with advertising, and it's really, as this is playing, I'm like, Daily Wire, they've got to have a gold scam going on here. But it's really about, and we can put this with the propaganda with the Middle East, the Zionists, all that. It's scaring old people and taking their money. It's really, I'll be interested to watch this. You know, I'll be skeptical even of the report. You don't want to just have Tucker take, because what happens is you have Glenn and all these other ones that scare people, and then so, you know, they purchase their stuff, Daily Wire, chocolates, you know, all those things. Because you can't be woke, so you got to buy our stuff. Patriot Mobile, okay? So do that with our gold, and then they're scamming them. Now, is Tucker doing this as a scam as well and scaring you? Perhaps. Hey, say what now? This is howdy y'all in a little reef from Tower Gang MPC. Tower Gang.
Top Lobster Productions.
Yeah, RIP. Okay, so we've knocked that one off. Let's go to the next one. This is just, okay, so there was a synagogue shooting, I guess, and there's blowback, and I don't know a lot about it because I've been doing other stuff and working, but this is the kind of stuff you got to be worried about because, you know, a crisis happens, and next thing you know, you got this kind of commentary from the police.
Thankful to law enforcement, but asking the average citizen out there, if you have a friend, a colleague, co-workers who are using anti-Semitism in their daily life and feel like it's just normal, please call that out wherever you see it. Thank you.
Okay, 2 weeks to slow the curve, all this kind of stuff. The problem is when you have this, we don't know what the real definition, what everyone's definition of anti-Semitism is. It changes on a daily basis, and it is being used like a cudgel against you at all costs. And it goes right down this woke path. If we had, and we're going to walk through some things here. There's this National Review anti-Semitism panel. There's Carrie Jean Buller, who just was on Tucker. I'm going to play a short clip of that because I've been listening to it, and I'm just like, there's woke stuff everywhere. And even the commission that she's impaneled to do, which was for religious freedom, seems a little woke in itself, right? But it's coming from the right wing, so it's fine. And she reveals a little bit about it, which shows the scam that it is. Now, we have Mr. Eyebrows himself, Ben Shapiro. You know, this is a little roundtable thing that they have going on here. And look at this. You've got Megyn McCain's husband, Ben Domenech. He has now joined the Daily Wire. Of course he has. But here's some things that Ben Shapiro was saying to his little buddies here. And if watch the face down at the bottom right, that's Ben Domenech. How these kind of things are just humorous to him. Of course it is.
Talking about the length and duration, I have cottage cheese in my fridge that is older than this war. And so this idea that this is like an endless war, Joe Rogan was like, every war is an endless war. Well, no, not every war is an endless war. And so I think everybody should sort of put out there what they think the biggest risks are and how likely those risks are to occur, and what the biggest benefits are and how likely those benefits are to occur. I can tell you.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So, you mock it because you don't. Yes, you could have said that the first 2 weeks of the the war with Iraq, okay, or Afghanistan, and then they last, basically like forever, or Vietnam, right? Talk about that. Okay, just these little losers. But Ben Shapiro, his eyebrows are going out of control. And here's a little clip about him with Tucker, but it's mostly to show his eyebrows.
Tucker Carlson explaining that he hopes that America does not get unconditional surrender from Iran and accuses the United States military of wanting to go into Iran and everyone.
So to avoid that, people will do anything. And so that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why.
When President Trump calls for Iran's unconditional surrender, what he's calling for is the mass of Iranian women. It's insane. I would ask if Tucker Carlson was dropped on his head as a baby, but we have a long record of him not being like this. So the question now is whether he was dropped on his head as an adult.
Okay, I didn't even hear that. I'm watching that, and his eyebrows are so... Now, he put out something, kind of... I'm sorry, I keep getting this over here. Hey, what's up? Is that Brian McWilliams? Is that the Brian McWilliams? How you doing? And if it is, yo, why don't you... We should collab again. We should collab. If it's not that Brian McWilliams, then, whatever. Go. Thanks for joining. But Ben Shapiro, those eyebrows are disturbing. And then he put out a little thing kind of like making fun of it. And now he's selling merch about it. But his eyebrows were much less than this abomination, what we have going on here. And it made me think of one thing here. I think I have it up here. There you go. Teen Wolf. It's crazy to see he's getting a lot. You know what he really looks like? And I should have brought this up. Have you ever seen that picture? It's like a trans guy that goes on like Dr. Phil's show, beard, whatnot, but in a dress. And it's like, okay, you're getting the hormone. What's going on? Yes, he looks like someone in transition. He looks like someone in transition. And trying really hard to be a man, right? And we can mock him mercilessly. So at some point, is he going to turn into Teen Wolf over there? Could be. It's a pretty scary prospect, but there we go. Nothing like mocking Ben Shapiro. Now, with Ben Shapiro, we're going to just go right into the TPUSA. There's some weird stuff going on here, but here is a little reveal. It's a minute clip here. This is Robert Shulman. Evidently, he was one of the first people, and he admits to Dinesh D'Souza that he did pull funding from Charlie and TPUSA because of Tucker Carlson. Let's take a listen.
We know a guy in Texas who is a billionaire or close to it, and we got wind of this because the message from Turning Point was, our donors are pulling out, you need to up your donation. So they were pitching other donors to make it up. And so, this at the time we were very much on the outside, but this was very intriguing to hear this rumbling going on. I don't know if you remember, but you sent me what turned out to be a very ill-timed text. It was actually like a day or two before Charlie was assassinated, and you were like, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not going to give them another penny. And then, of course, obviously you had no way of knowing this, 2 days later, poor Charlie is shot, he's killed, and then you immediately send me a text going, oh, I feel horrible. You sent me something basically saying, you realize that this was something that you had sent right before.
Oh, basically guilty for the crime of murder of Charlie Kirk. Oh, I think this is meaty, right? Yeah, welcome everybody in there. This put off the spark. It is fascinating to see the direction of TPUSA. And I've said from the start, I came in here, and I defended the people going off on Charlie Kirk because he's a human, right? And that whole, that episode when it caused a rift with Jose and I, even a little bit with Toad, although Toad's actually, it was interesting. Never mind, we won't get into there. But with that said, I wasn't a TPUSA fan. Good for what they did, I guess. But it's interesting when you get these big organizations that you act like they're, it's like Trump or anybody else is like, oh, he's on our side. He couldn't do wrong, right? It's like, well, maybe these companies are in these organizations, they get corrupted because there's just so much money coming in, right? And now it sounded like Charlie wasn't willing to, he was flicking off donors like this guy, this meathead looking skinhead, literally a Jewish skinhead right here. So we have flicking them off, saying, I don't want your money because you don't want to give me your money, I guess, because I'm not towing the way. Later on in this interview, he basically is like, calls Tucker Carlson an anti-Semite, but he might even call him a Nazi. I mean, these people are despicable. And I'm talking about the Zionists and the ones that call people those kind of names and whatnot. So, but I'm not the TPUSA. It's interesting to see them changing. I mean, I just had a tweet here the other day, and for some reason it kind of went for me viral-ish. I'll just throw it up here, but it was the Daily Wire, which TPUSA joined in on, but the Daily Wire doing this clip of Trump wrecks Thomas Massie. Now it's like, all these Republican organizations, these conservative organizations, why are they going after Thomas Massie, right? And I posted this. I said, this pretty much solidifies, at least to me it does, the end of the Trump era for conservatives with a brain. Combine this embarrassment with the Iran war and his COVID debacle, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a more pathetic leader. I mean, like 32,000 views here. I'm getting a lot of action on that. But someone's like, oh yeah, the Thomas Massie who cheated on his wife. There's no proof of that. Cheated on his wife, and what was the other one? Did something like some vote that he had. See if I can find it here. And took money. Took money from Muslims, and I'm like, you're talking about Trump, and you're going to compare. You're going to make allegations of you didn't like Massie because supposedly cheated on his wife. Do you think Trump hasn't cheated on his wife? Even Melania. Of course he has. This guy is despicable for that. And then you're talking about foreign money. I'm like, let me introduce you to Miriam Adelson. I mean, you're really going to say if he took money from mullahs and whatever, and as my friend Matt went through, he's like, went to some of that. He's like, you just Google those people. They're Americans. They just happen to have a foreign name. I mean, is that where we're at here in this world? Anyway, I put this out. And but TPUSA was also jumping on this bandwagon about Massie. And, it's a little bit much, even the responses too. It's a little bit much I mean, can you just get rid of the Charlie Kirk show? He's dead. Let's just move on. But it's like holier than thou. Could you imagine though, if like Trump had been killed in Butler? Some say maybe he was. No, I don't know if I've heard that theory. But if he had been killed in Butler, everything would be memorialized about over the top, right? It's like George Floyd. It's like, come on, you're going to do that. And now Charlie Kirk, I don't believe he would be necessarily feeling comfortable with the way he's being lionized. Okay. It's respectful. I've talked about this when you pass away. There's a song I was talking about. It's called, A Man You Would Write About. In other words, are you going to be, when something happened, God forbid, you pass away. Are you going to be that kind of person that someone would write about in a good way, right? To memorialize you and say, this is someone who did X, Y, and Z, wonderful person, da-da-da-da-da. Is that the kind of person you're going to be? Or is it just going to be kind of where like you didn't make us, anything? Well, so Charlie's obviously someone that people are writing about, but then you've got to also calm the fuck down and be like, okay, well, let's not go over the top. He wasn't Jesus, okay? So you get the day TPUSA tweeting shit about Thomas Massie, and then other ones like, yeah, but I mean, as if that's in Charlie's name. You see that all the time from the Josh Hammers, the people that work there at TPUSA. But then people pull out like quotes of him, like Thomas Massie is my favorite. Yeah, I don't know that he would be jumping down this bandwagon, but we don't know. So stop using him on all those kind of directions. That's kind of the point I'm making there. So with that in mind, though, it's kind of weird where this. Then you get this kind of stuff. And I will say, Jack Posobiec, I had him blocked. I did unblock him because some of the stuff with like Iran war, he's actually not that bad. I mean, he did the stupid binder stuff and he's pathetic. And then he does stuff like this. Charlie was so proud to be appointed to the Air Force Academy Board and had plans for his work there. Thank you for President Trump for appointing Erica to see those plans come to fruition. I mean, people, I've said this, if you want to mock, and I have no problem especially as we're seeing things progress here, I have no problem with what Candace is doing. If she happens to ruin TPUSA, I don't really give a shit, okay? I think you're probably going to come out where it's a corrupt organization, honestly. That's probably going to be something that happens. I'm also going to say, just a kind of a side note, I've been watching this, it's called Corey Richins. It's this lady that supposedly killed her fentanyl with her husband. It's a trial that's going on in Utah right now. The word on the street is that the defense attorneys for her are also the defense attorneys for some of them for Tyler Robinson. And I'm not holding out hope. And I'm not like, I want him to have a defense so he gets cleared. I want him to have a really good defense so we get evidence and more proof. And I'm not seeing that they're like top-notch attorneys. I'm a little disappointed. The presentation, everything. It's like, I want to have this so that when this trial comes about, we get to see everything, and we get to see some really good arguing, and we get to see some evidence that gets put on without shit. Okay, that's what I want to see, and hopefully the judge will do that. So anyway, she gets appointed to this board. Why? Why? I've said this over and over. Like, I'm an attorney. Just because if I were to pass away, does that mean that my wife gets to just take over my job? No. I mean, I think Charlie Kirk was unique. Okay, he was very, very good arguing. Just because he's banging this chick doesn't mean that she is now qualified. And it's the dumbest thing you can think about. And so she gets appointed. It just means, it is what it says to me is whatever she's getting appointed to means that whatever that department is, that board, that organization is really feckless. Okay. It really means nothing, because you would not, if it meant something and it was important, you wouldn't put this person in charge of it. Okay. You just wouldn't do that. Now let's keep going on here, because there's some quotes that happened. Here's this. Sarah Huckabee Sanders had to talk about this.
Thank you for honoring Charlie and his legacy and his mission to have a Club America on every high school chapter across the country. So God bless you guys, and thank you.
We are here to welcome one of the conservative movement's most talented, most outspoken, and most faithful leaders, Erica Kirk, to our great state. We're so proud to have her, and we're so proud of the incredible work that she is doing to help encourage students across the country to engage and join Club America, which we're launching here in Arkansas, and we're just honored to have you.
Thank you, God.
Okay. First of all, what's her talent? I don't know. She was Miss Arizona. Suck a golf ball through a pipe. I don't know what she. And it's also, and I'm sorry if you're like, I don't like how you're taking. Oh, whatever. I'm taking pot shots here. This is a weird demeanor. If someone's talking to you, and why do you have the shoulders hunched like this? Because someone's abused me.
We are here.
Look at this. Watch her. And then she puts her eyes down. What is that? That's weird. That's weird. I'm sorry. But what's even more weird are these comments. Okay, this is something that happened recently, and I didn't catch it the first time, evidently, when she was on with Jesse Waters. But listen to this.
And I truly believe that if the Lord, which this does not happen, but if the Lord gave him an option to return back to earth, and if the Lord said, this is what your death is going to be the catalyst for, do you want to go back and exchange it? He'd say no. Wow, he'd say no.
Okay, no one is fucking buying that, and I've got a lot of problems with that. But here's the losers on his Charlie Kirk show saying the same thing.
Because of what was unleashed by it. Blake, any thoughts? You know, it's... Erica said that if Charlie was given the choice to undo what happened and come back, he wouldn't, she thought, because of what was unleashed by it.
That is just demonic. And what I mean by that is, this is a guy, he's a father, okay? And if you think that he's not a preacher, okay, he's not a pastor, he ran a political organization. And if she is going to infer that somehow what people come to God because of his death, I don't think so. I don't think so, and I don't think she can prove that at all. But if so, she's saying the the organization putting this out there is more important than being a father to his kids. This is a guy that was basically saying, women, you know, you should be in the home, taking care of your kids. That's the most important thing. And then he does a lot of travel himself. So maybe that's true. I would say as a father, and if my wife was out there going, oh my God, I would much rather you here with your family to perpetuate their relationship with you as long as they, especially little children, than just some sort of legacy gets put in place. Legacy can go fuck itself if my kids don't have a father. This is the most, it's really demonic, okay? And if you watch a clip like that and you really listen and you think about what that means, he would want that. And I would have said, well, what do you want? Would you prefer that too? That's me. I would be heartbroken if you know, something happened to me and my wife were to go on TV and say shit like that. I'd be like, oh my God, I mean, you got to be a little selfish, right? I want to spend more time with my wife. My wife would probably be more upset. She has a friend whose child, you know, and I just saw this the other day. Our friend Justin Campbell has done podcast stuff. His son, I saw this online where he posted that his son died in a car wreck. It broke me up. I'm just like, that's horrible. It's like, oh, but you know what? Someone came to God because of this. So my son would not want to come back and see us. Go. This is the most insane stuff. And if you see that with a straight, and you take it in with a straight face, you are maybe idiotic. I don't know what to even say. It was scary shit that's going on. So anyway, speaking of, let's get up to some comments here. What would that say? I don't know why. Let's keep going here. The structure of his face looks like a face that hasn't been around for 1,200 years. I don't know what to, probably some horse piss tasting IPA. Oh, what am I drinking tonight? I'm not drinking IPA. I told you I'm not drinking during the week. I'm drinking Athletic Brewery hazy IPA, non-alcoholic. Although I did go out and have some real drinks last night. I had Blind Pig, Russian River. Voodoo Ranger is cocaine in a can. Shit will fuck your world up if you can get past the piss taste of no, it does not taste bad. I think it's amazing. I think the Ranger is pretty fruity and covers, there's a bunch of different Voodoo Ranger, hoppy, like a hazy, there's a bunch of different ones. So Charlie should have gave her the Crowder treatment. I'm thinking so. And it looks like she might have given him the Crowder feed dogs medicine treatment. Remember, he wanted her to feed the dogs this medicine that she was like definitely allergic to or something like that. And he said, put some gloves on. Imagine Tyler dies and his wife takes over LPR and makes it explicitly pro-Zionist. Trust me, that would never happen. No, I mean me dying or my wife taking over, those could happen. She would not be pro-Zionist. She might be just as bad as me. Speaking of spouses, y'all, I saw this clip. This is bad lip reading. And it is Heidi and our favorite boy, Ted Cruz. Let's see this. Here we go.
You know, Ted's always kind of freaky. He eats hair, human hair. He's the first one to say, let's go out and eat hair. It's wonderful now and again. See? Hair. You know, originally Heidi wanted to marry a different fella. She wanted Herbert Spinecki. Yeah, he was into football. Herbert was beautiful. I mean, he was just always very open and sensuous with me, you know? Like on the weekend, he'd bring fruit and lay by the fire with me and tell me I looked like a French model. What? Why'd you even tell him that? He's still a really close friend, the Spinecki. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. He's in the kitchen right now. Wait, he's here? Mm-hmm. Is he? Mm-hmm. What does this mean? Yeah, whatever. At least I know she's mine. I don't want to ask who the baby daddy. I know it's him.
Okay, kind of. And by the way, it does kind of sound like Ted Cruz's voice there. I thought I would show where it is. There it is. Let's remove this one. I went to high school with Heidi. Here I found these pictures the other day of like a yearbook thing. This is her in 10th grade. Am I doxing? No, these are publicly available. And this is the next year, 11th grade. She was 1 year behind me, but that's there you go. That's the 90s. That was 80s. Sorry, that was 88 and 89 right there. That's what you got. So let's play some stuff here. I'm going to play this clip of this Carrie Prejean Bowler. Okay, she went on Tucker, and this was what this commission, she got pointed to this commission about religious freedom. If you really think about it, even from a conservative perspective or libertarian perspective, these commissions should not happen. The president should not be. Now, you could back it up a little bit and go, look, this is First Amendment, right? And let's have a whole commission about not stepping on someone's First Amendment rights. And be like, fine. How? And because they would bring people in there about and talk about like how they're they were religiously persecuted in some way or not. Right? Okay. And then they were going to advise the president about possible executive orders or things they can do. I was like, okay, fine. I think that's a little woke itself, just doing that. But what if we went and had a same, because this would never happen, right? A same commission about people getting overstepped for the Second Amendment, right? Yeah, my Second Amendment rights have been violated over and over. Let's go hear some sob stories about how that's the case. You're not going to get that kind of commission, but I wish we would. But anyway, she gets appointed to this thing. Now, this lady did fascinating work later on, not after this video, this just came out, but this time period she's going to talk about. She'd been posting stuff online about Gaza. She's a pretty hardcore Catholic. And they came to her, they being this guy, Dan Patrick, who's like the lieutenant governor of Texas. Texas is very, very woke as far as Zionism stuff goes. It's crazy. And then there's pastor that is the pastor for Trump. We played clips of her last week where she's like doing this on the almost like Mussolini. Crazy motherfuckers that didn't want her to do basically post stuff about Gaza. It's anti-Semitic. That's what they're saying. And I thought this clip was very revealing because it showed the reality of what this little commission was all about. It has nothing to do with actual religious freedoms, but instead, here's what they plan to do with it.
Dan started, and he goes, I just want to let you know we've been in meetings about your situation.
What situation?
Yeah, what situation that I'm posting about? God forbid, I criticize Israel. Can't do that while serving in this administration. And he said, I just want to let you know, Carrie, your job on this commission, I'll never forget this, Tucker. Your job on this commission is protect the president and his reputation. He said that to me, the first thing out of his mouth. I couldn't believe it. I go, what? I thought my job is protect religious freedom. I thought that's what he appointed me to do. And he goes, you've been saying things online, Carrie, and you really need to stay off social media. Do not use social media between now and the end of your term. And then Paula White chimed in and she said, yeah, Carrie, you know what? You really shouldn't be posting about replacement theology. You shouldn't be posting about that. And there's a lot of people that are saying that you're an anti-Semite, Carrie, by your posts. You're criticizing Zionism. You're criticizing Israel. And we have a problem with that. And then Dan chimed in again, and he got loud. He got real loud, and he's like, Dan.
Okay, so the clip there ends there, but basically she talks about how they then wanted to have her, they wanted to approve all her tweets from then on. It was crazy shit. But the point there is that the commission, these people on the commission, their real point was to basically inoculate. It's like, oh, I got to have my black friend so that I could say the N-word so that you don't call me a racist type of stuff. That sounds like what it is. I was 1 year old in 88. Well, I graduated in 89. Okay, so it's not about religious freedom, it's Zionism. Yeah. Oh, nice. We can use 88s in your profile without fear. I didn't graduate in I have no, I just 88, I was alive. Okay, it means nothing to me. I graduated in 1989, but yeah, please, I don't care. It was still a fun year. Okay, let's get working. We've got a bunch of clips still to get to. I'm just pontificating off here. With all this shit going on, National Review decided to have a symposium on anti-Semitism. National Review in partnership with the Republican Jewish Coalition. There you go. So you're automatically not going to get any kind of realistic discussion. It's gonna be a victim thing. And I said this because Ted Cruz was whining about. We'll get to it. Actually, we'll get to it, and I hope I remember my joke at the time there. The event brought together policymakers, scholars, journalists, and religious leaders. Jewish religious leaders and Zionists to discuss the historical roots of anti-Semitism, the parallels we see in our own time, the vital contributions of Jewish Americans to our national story, and how conservatives can draw a bright moral boundary. Oh shit, I just spilled drink on my keyboard. Do I have anything to wipe this up? I got some wipes in here. We'll keep going here. Vital contributions of Jewish Americans to our national story, and how conservatives can draw a bright moral boundary as they have in the past. Speakers include Senator Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, Jim Banks, Leo Terrell, Rich Lowry, Philip Klein, Caroline Downey, Matthew Continetti, Rabbi Mir Y. Soloveitchik, Ilya Shapiro, and more. Yeah. And we're going to play some clips from it because it's pretty disturbing, some of the stuff they get into here. Okay, so that's our first thing. But let's see. Ted Cruz had this quote here. This is where it's getting out of control. I'm sorry, you people, like, I'm sick of the anti-Zionist stuff. Okay, well, this is what's being pushed in your face, so you have to be aware of what's going on and prepare yourself for it. Okay, you can't just put your head in the sand. It was like a year and a half ago. My brother-in-law was talking about, I think it was right before the election, perhaps, or somewhere around November. I think it was a Thanksgiving time, right before the Trump election. And he was talking about, he's like, the Republicans, they're for free speech, and the left just aren't. And I'm like, well, let's not just give the Republicans a pass. I'm like, they're very anti-free speech for, if you want to talk about, anti-Semitism, an example. And he was just shocked about it. He's like, what are you talking about? Well, the Jews were in the Holocaust. And I'm like, okay, well, you compare this to the BLM, right? You're fine with that. But suddenly this one, why? Why is it? Because we've been indoctrinated. And he wasn't prepared for this, because he had never thought about that, because you just listen to your people and they say the same things. They get mad at you. So if you say the wrong things, so you think your guys are in the right. And this is the kind of shit, though, that you've got to remember these creeps like Ted Cruz are saying.
And I said, I'm really troubled by how the phrase Christ is King is being used. Look, I agree with the statement, Christ is King. Although it is being used online in a way that is meant to say, screw you, Jew. It is being used in a context very directly to say, I hate Jews, and that's almost an online code word. Christ is King is, I hate the Jew.
Is that your view, or why do you say that?
Because you see the people who are saying it, and they're saying it in that context. They're saying Jews are horrible, good, like they're attacking Jews, and they end with Christ is King to make it sound like somehow there's a biblical basis for attacking Jews. Look, Jesus was a Jew. And by the way, the twisted theology that says Jews are Christ killers, and that's been used to justify anti-Semitism, to justify persecution and murder. Look, as I read the Gospels, Jesus went to the cross willingly. He made the choice to go to the cross, and it was not the Jews.
Wait a second. Is his argument, first of all, let's back up here, because if you were talking about anything other than this topic, and this is the problem, right? Which is like Ted Cruz types have taught us along the way how to just push back against wokeness, right? You can't always say this stuff that's out there, pervasive. Oh, like white privilege, that's literally what he's saying now about this issue. You can't say I'm triggered. Right? I need a safe space. All these are words, Ted. Christ is King is really, why are you even bringing this up? If you don't give a shit, you don't give a shit. But you do, because it's very important to you, because you can't do this. But did he just start to go down this route where Jesus killed himself? Is that what he's going to say? He voluntarily went along. Well, what are you going to do? What do you want to do when you get arrested? Is he saying that, someone that gets put to death by the government, he wasn't killed by the government? He willingly went along with it. I mean, he didn't like kick and scream. This is insanity. And don't take any, this guy's a heretical, he's a demon. He literally is a demon.
Who killed Jesus?
Well, they did.
It was me. It was you. Look, Jesus died for our sins because man is fallen and the wages of sin is death. And Jesus...
I think he's misunderstanding. Well, because he's not, honestly, he's a smart guy, but and I think he's intentionally doing this, which is, yes, Jesus, this had to happen. He understood this was going to be put into place. Now, Judas goes and he tries to do something, cuts off the ear of, or Peter gets his ear cut off, but it's in the Garden of Gethsemane. And his whole idea was, you're going to put Jesus in a position where he's going to rebel, and then I'm going to be like on this, Judas is going to be like second seat because I helped bring this to prominence. Well, that wasn't Jesus's plan. His plan was not to be violent, and this has got to take place regardless. It's going to happen. But people still went along and did it, right? There was still the Jewish people that sold him out. It could have been a different plan, right? You didn't have to, Jesus's plan all along, I mean, I'm no biblical scholar, of course, but his plan all along was to, come back, die, and rise again, okay? However that's going to happen. The fact that it was the Jews who sold him out because Pontius Pilate's like, do you want Barabbas? And the Sanhedrin and whatnot, they put him right in. They did that to Stephen just shortly thereafter. Remember, Paul, at the time he's Saul, he's a big part of the Sanhedrin, and they stoned Stephen, and willingly he went out and they threw his, and then, famously Saul would go out to churches and kill Christians in the name of the Sanhedrin. At some point he had his road to Damascus and he changed. I mean, I know a little bit about this stuff. Let's not be a complete idiot,
Jesus
Ted.
took on the punishment that you deserve and I deserve so that we could be covered in his blood and receive salvation, not through works, not through what we do, but through the gift of God. And so the idea of blaming the Jews, and look, to be clear, the precise people.
The point of blaming the Jews, though, is not that we then should say, to persecute them. It's just to point out that there is this controversy between Jews and Christians, okay? There's this non-symbiotic relationship, right? We believe in Jesus. They don't. They said, no, we don't want it. If you were to come back again, or, you have Jesus and put proof into their face, they're not going to want that. They're just talking about a Messiah coming. Netanyahu's doing that. And it's not our Messiah, the Christian one. So, yeah.
Who drove the nails in Jesus's wrists and feet were the Romans. I don't see anyone being angry at the Italians. They happened to be who was in charge of the government at the time that Jesus was crucified, but it was Pontius Pilate who gave the order. And so I will say the phrase, look, Christ is king, and to be honest, that was not a phrase I grew up with in church, and I was thinking about it the other day. We would say things like Jesus loves you, Jesus saves. That tended to be more... Christ is king is a phrase that seems to have originated online, and it's some of kind of the Groyper folks that it almost sort of invokes images of the crusade, that in the name of Jesus we will conquer everyone else in a way that I don't think
this guy's going to hell. That's all there's to it. I can't get around it. You know who had a problem with that? Were Jews at the time, like Ben Shapiro, coming after Candace Owens for just posting that online. You are reaching here, Mr. Ted Cruz. This one didn't get put in there, but Banned Photoshop says, Tyler, just admit it. You shagged Ted Cruz's wife back in high school. You and Ted are Eskimo cousins. I did not shag her. She was a cute girl, but she was a little odd. She was way too into school. She was best friends and I think roommates, because I went to a private high school with boarding school. She was good friends and roommates with two of my other friends, girls, which I didn't shag, those two. But yeah, I wasn't really that interested in dating her. She was just nice. She was nice. But, you know, it doesn't mean that nice people can't marry demons. Anyway, there's Ted Cruz. We got a few more of this. Let's go to some more crazy shit. This is Leo Terrell. This guy is psychopath. I think he was disbarred and fined a bunch of money for trying to make settlements without his client's consent. It's some crazy shit.
Criminal activity. That's where the First Amendment is not an affirmative defense. It is actionable, and trust me, we're monitoring that.
Is there any turning
Wait,
point?
let's start at the
Where
beginning.
have you found the most pungent examples of anti-Semitism across the U.S. so far?
Everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, we focus on the big cities, but it's in the small cities. It's in the South. It's in the North. It's in the East, in the West. How do I know that? Because my phone never stops ringing. Complaints all over the country of anti-Semitism.
Right.
And the biggest problem, which I think is our next issue, the local level. We're at 30,000 feet of the federal government, but the local level is where the anti-Semitism is rampant.
And can you speak at all to the spread of anti-Semitism?
Local's the place to be, folks. Said it for act local.
Online and how we're able to tackle that?
Well, it's going to be a tough one because, first of all, I'm a civil rights attorney. I believe in the First Amendment. If you hate me because of my skin color and my religion, so be it. You have that First Amendment right.
Do I?
That's the beauty of this country. But when it crosses the line, when it incites violence, when it causes anyone to directly commit criminal activity, that's where the First Amendment is not an affirmative defense. It is actionable. And trust me, we're monitoring that.
Now, inciting violence is very specific. And these yahoos, like this dumb fuck here, one, they don't know how to define anti-Semitism, and then when they do, it's way too broad, and they go fuck themselves. And then two, I don't know that he isn't a practicing attorney. I read online that he had been disbarred, and so maybe we can check into that. But actionable, right? Incitement is a legal term that you use when there's plenty of case law with the First Amendment about what that actually means, right? And, saw stuff, people telling people to go into the Capitol. And there's very specific things about what it means. And you're not going to make that threshold with any real logical thinking person. But anyway.
Is there any turning point that you can project so far that you think will take just this whole movement in the right direction and lower anti-Semitism?
Well, I think I cannot overstate the importance of President Trump. He is a symbol of deterrent to fight anti-Semitism. And so the big point to me is that we have 2.5 golden years to set up guardrails under this administration to make sure that President Trump's successors follow through with fighting anti-Semitism.
More like golden showers, if you know what I mean. Okay, so there's one more dumb fuck. But here, let's go to the ultimate dumb fuck. Back to our favorite boy, Ted Cruz, saying more stuff. This is him at the symposium himself. Let's see what he says.
Hundreds of anti-Semitic responses would immediately fill my social media. Turns out I've seen many times an image of myself in a bikini with the flag of Israel. I could tweet this morning, "Good morning," and hundreds.
Okay, so it started in the middle there. Yeah, this is what you would see Ted Cruz. But what he doesn't get is what he just said earlier, right? He needs to say when he is a bully, and then when you see a weak spot on bullies, it is fine to bully them. Okay. And so he is, he'll threaten all kinds of stuff. He'll say the most ridiculous shit and go bomb other countries. And I say hello. And it's because on the 4th of July, you are tweeting about Israel. My number one goal when coming to Congress was to be the biggest defender of Israel. Yeah, bitch. This is why. You literally are a traitor to your country. Honestly, this is the kind of shit. And then you're going to, this is my joke now. Ted Cruz's, he believes that with becoming a victim like this, he also will earn the right of return for Israel. That was my tweet. Yay. A little bit of applause, but little to his, no, you can't convert to Judaism just by becoming a victim. He's going to try. Okay, here's a 4-minute clip. I don't think I want to play all of it. Let's go at least to speed 1.25 of Ted saying more shit, freaking out about Tucker Carlson at the symposium.
Less certain. And I will say on the right, I have seen more anti-Semitism in the last 18 months on the right than at any point in my lifetime. A year and a half ago, I could not have imagined we would be here having this conversation. And it is growing, and it is gaining real purchase, especially with young people.
I will say this. So this is a distinction here, which I believe with the ADL, same thing. One, they need the rise of anti-Semitism to go up, or the perception, right? Because I don't believe a lot of it is legit. Two, they define it to such an extent that you can't. It's like, you know, you've said, people have said you can't live. Everybody breaks a law in the United States every day because there's so many fucking laws, right? Same thing. If you look at the IHRA's definition, it's out of control. And then three, his misunderstanding, and it goes in with the definition. You know, you remember the Tucker Carlson interview. Tucker's talking about Russia. He's talking about Ukraine. And then he said Israel. And Ted's like, what did the Jews have to do with it? And Tucker's like, no one mentioned the Jews. I said Israel. And Ted keeps freaking out, because that's an important thing that he can't make a distinction. And if you look at the IHRA, they don't make a distinction, right? So you condemn fucking Israel's bombing Gaza. Now we're bombing another thing. And you can't make comments about your government being involved in a war that seemingly might be pushed from a foreign country without being called names. As a matter of fact, it might be criminal. Yeah, let's take this up to the Supreme Court. I don't know. Are there any Jews on the Supreme Court right now? Probably. could be. Might be in trouble if we go that route. Okay. So he keeps blabbing on. Let's see what this guy has. I mean, the these people, the way they look.
When we have 500 groups to combat anti-Semitism, we're spending the most.
So you're not doing a very good job there.
Money in history to combat anti-Semitism.
Right.
And yet anti-Semitism is at the highest levels ever since 1933.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we can no longer have 500 different messages to combat anti-Semitism.
Oh, that's an applause line, and like 2 people applauded.
We have to have one cohesive message. We have an administration that is willing to work with everybody to fight the scourge of anti-Semitism. But the way we do it is one message and with education. We start by educating our children to have a pride in Jewish history and have the ability to answer all those idiots on college campuses who think they know Jewish history. Whether it be Brandeis, Cardozo, Einstein, Salk, pick the industry, we have made an impact in every country we've ever been in, historically, and any country that hasn't been kind to the Jews hasn't had a very positive ending.
No shit. So he's literally threatening you with violence. Now, if you want, this is the problem. You don't need Jewish history. This is like Black History Month, right? And would NPR be putting out this kind of garbage for Black History Month? Oh, we're going to have a symposium on African Americans and how we need to, you know, let's go real deep. And we're not going to have Booker T. Washington. We're going to have different people. We're going to have, the real Ibram X. Kendi. He's going to come there and he's going to speak. And we're going to really show all the victims. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So that shows you right there that this is a weak spot for the Republicans, and I believe that it's proven itself out even more, that they are just being overrun in a sense by this sort of weird guilt thing, and I don't know if it's religious or not. But let's go back. This is David Limbaugh. This is Rush Limbaugh's brother. He put. So this Alexander Dugin, who I'm not a fan of, but he goes, Tucker Carlson represents the coherent idea, the vision, the systematic ideology of what was MAGA in origin. The American politics is a disgusting show. Tucker Carlson is the politics as such, consequence clear, Massey also. Okay, so, it's a Russian guy that's saying this kind of stuff. And then David Limbaugh goes, interesting guy to have in your corner. Now, we can't all dictate who our fans are, right? You guys here, I'm glad you're in here. I'm not going to kick any of you out. We did the New York renal doctor got all pissed off a few weeks ago, and it's like, okay, so I lost a subscriber. Okay, I hope he quit because he thinks I'm incoherent about being consistent with different races, religions, and everything else. Right? I treat them all the same. They're all shit. Now, what I posted here, because it's the dumbest thing ever, is interesting to see you have this guy in your corner, which is Jonathan Pollard. If you don't like Tucker Carlson, well, you side with Jonathan Pollard. That's how dumb this stuff is, right? And I thought Republicans were above and beyond this, but they aren't. Now, when it comes to really shit shows, we're going to have Lindsey Graham here. We're going to go through a few clips of him, which is just some of the most amazing stuff. And he said these things on an interview, I think it was with Sean Hannity, because part of it, the ending one, we're going to have with Sean Hannity. Now, we have this clip. We'll play this one to begin with.
All the anti-Semitites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus, plus, plus.
Okay, so there's one. I hope the volume works on all these. So let's go to this next one that he said. It's the same interview. He's just cucking for Israel, and it's just gross. This is what's crazy. You can be saying, I want to give money to Ukraine. What if they were saying this stuff about Ukraine? Remember when Trump was Russia collusion, but during that there was the money from the big guy, and there was a big amount of fraud and stuff over there in Ukraine with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, right? He was getting tons of money. It's like a problem. And, your first thing is like, well, loyalties and, you don't want to have another, I grew up with Al Gore having China connections. Clinton had those kind of things too. And the Republicans put, it's like this Chinese spy gave you money and in your campaign. You may not have known it, but he did. And then, okay, well, Lindsey Graham reportedly, we'll get to that. But let's play this.
Our allies step up, get our air bases out of Spain. They're not reliable. Move all those airplanes to a country that would let us use them when we're threatened by a regime like Iran. To our friends in Spain, man, you've lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina and say we're fighting and you won't publicly fight. What you're doing behind the scenes, that has to stop. The double dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff needs to end. I go back to South Carolina, I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast. What I want you to do in the Mideast, to our friends in Saudi Arabia and other places, step forward and say, this is my fight too. I join America. I'm publicly involved in bringing this regime down. If you don't, you're making a great mistake, and you're going to cut off the ability to have a better relationship with the United States. I say this as a friend.
Okay, he's that's not the kind of friend you want to have. Let's see what else he says here.
All the anti-Semitites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe.
Okay, that one we already played. That was the opening clip here. Okay, so Laura Ingraham and now pressures Ted Cruz to tell her when Lindsey Graham is, quote, coaching Netanyahu on how to lobby President Trump. Ingram. Okay, so let's play this little clip here with Ted Cruz. Now it's 2:57. I don't know if I want to play the whole bit, but we'll. Hang on, I gotta do this. It's the only way this is gonna work. Let's get this to 1.25. I think you'll enjoy it more that way. I will, because I'm about ready to be done here. Yeah, Eddie Graham, this is a great week. This week has been great for radicalization. It has. And you just catalog these things. That's why I'm playing a bunch of these little clips. It's just to show you the problem with the pro-Israel side, right? The Zionist side. They're coming out and they're saying stuff that's just outright, like the Lindsey Graham. We got another little clip here. We'll finish it off with it. You're just like, what? What are you actually saying? Who? And this conversation that we're going to do here as well, the quote or the accusation is that Lindsey Graham spent time over with Netanyahu trying to teach him how or help him prep to lobby Trump to get into this war. Okay, let's just talk about outright treason. Now, I've broken that down. Treason is the best word, but technically treason has to be a company that you are at war with to be charged with any of that. So it would be espionage and the Espionage Act, I guess. But I still say, why are we not at war with Iran? I mean, we are with Iran, with Israel. Okay, let's play this.
What the Wall Street Journal is reporting about your colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham. The Journal is saying that Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks to help make the case on Iran, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency, spoke with Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby President Trump for action. Graham said that Netanyahu showed the president intel that persuaded President Trump to go ahead. Senator, I know you all talk to foreign leaders, and that happens routinely. But speaking to a foreign leader on the precipice of war and seeming to be lobbying or being an intermediary, which this seems to indicate, is that the right way to go?
Well, listen, Lindsey is passionate about defending America, and he is on the road a lot. He's talking to world.
First of all, it's not defending America. The accusation is that he was lobbying on the behalf of America with a foreign nation, okay? There's nothing about defending America there, so go fuck yourself once more, Ted. This is the go fuck yourself show for Ted Cruz. But anyway.
World leaders all over the world. There are times when I agree with Lindsey. There are times when I don't. But when it comes to
what about this? Well, what about this? I mean, this is something of a totally different.
How would you not? I mean, if this was happening, like what's the guy, Eric Swalwell, right? Supposedly banging some sort of Chinese spy. And how is he, you know, you're in Senate there. How has this guy not been brought up? How has he not been impeached, right? Bring charges, something. Well, you know what? I would be, you know, Ted Cruz would be saying this if it was a Democrat doing this. He'd be all over, you know, America, da-da-da-da. But no.
Different level, is it not?
No, actually, when it comes to the threat Iran poses, Lindsey agrees they pose a major threat to America, and I agree they pose a major threat to America. Look, Lindsey and I did.
He's saying his actions, though treasonous, are justified. You don't get to do something just because you feel like it's justified. Is this a proper or improper behavior, right? You know, we had this with Trump, Flynn, and, you know, with Russia collusion, all these kind of things they were trying to bring up. It's like, where's the intent? What are you actually doing here, right? You're not even doing anything wrong. This, on the other hand, that seems to be...
Disagreed on the Iraq War. He thought the Iraq War was a good idea. I thought the Iraq War was a mistake. I think Iran is fundamentally different because Saddam Hussein was not murdering Americans on the scale and level that Iran has been doing. Saddam Hussein was not funding Hamas and Hezbollah killing Americans. And President Trump acted boldly to take out a regime that had been killing Americans over and over.
We're not disagreeing on that.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Our point is working with Netanyahu so closely to lobby President Trump, acting as an intermediary for a foreign country. Is that appropriate? That was my simple question. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but that's slightly unusual, is it not? I agree with you on the other points.
I don't think it's a fair characterization that Lindsey is an intermediary for Israel. And a lot of the critics say, oh, the war is all about Israel. Understand, it's not about Israel. It is about America. The reason President Trump acted is to defend America. There's a reason the Ayatollah referred to Israel as the little Satan, and America is the great Satan. I believe if the Ayatollah got a nuclear weapon, he would use it. Laura, if the Ayatollah could kill you and me right now, he would. And that's why President Trump acted. And so I get frustrated with all the people who say, oh, this is all for Israel. No, it's not. This is for America. This is Donald Trump being the commander-in-chief of the United States of America and protecting us. And you started your monologue by saying this was not going to be a protracted land battle with troops there for a long time. You're absolutely right. That is not going to happen. But the president is acting decisively to take out real threats to the lives and safety of Americans.
Okay, so Laura Ingraham, go fuck yourself too for not being able at all to put any kind of pressure on Ted Cruz on this one. Okay, I had to listen to a fucking idiot talk about him twice a year for 13 years. Okay, wait, did you show that one? There you go. Technically, we are at war with Israel, but we are on the same side against Iran. Yeah, that's true. Eric Swalwell, yes. Speaking of which, this is the most amazing tweet I think that's come up. This is Caroline Leavitt, the spokesman for the White House here. She was talking about the drones, right? If you heard about that, which you knew it was immediately fake, which was the Iranians stole drones from California, and all Californians should be on high alert. Now, those were in November. and who could just walk in and steal a drone from an American facility? I guess anybody in California. But then it was unverified, and then it started to come out that it's not. So she puts on this, she says, this post and story should be immediately retracted by ABC News for providing false information to intentionally alarm the American people. They wrote this based on one email that was sent to a local law enforcement to California about a single unverified tip. The email even states the tip was based on, quote, unverified, quote, intelligence. Yet ABC News left out this critical point of their story. Why? To be clear, no such threat from Iran to our homeland exists, and it never did. I mean, really? I thought that was an imminent threat to the homeland. I mean, otherwise, what are we doing? We're concerned about this area. Anyway, this is a fascinating tweet. But it doesn't matter. She won't have to stand accountable for that because that's not what happens. Okay, so this is how Lindsey Graham signs off his appearance on with Sean Hannity. Sean's face looks a little grim, but I am shocked that Sean Hannity didn't just put a tweet out there about this. This is unbelievable. Impeach on this alone.
God bless Israel. Right. We should move all our stuff to Israel. Thank you. God bless Israel. Right. We should move all our stuff to Israel.
God bless Israel. We should move all our stuff to Israel. I don't even know what that is anymore. Okay, the war to end all wars. Here's Dave Rubin's take on it. The little gay man who purchases kids. Let's see what he says.
I think the way you can look at this, I haven't heard anyone else say this, but this seems to me to be the war to end all wars. I know that that's like bumper stickery and whatever, but it's the war to say no more of this, no more state-sponsored jihadism all over the place. And once that happens, once these countries calm down and things start turning, and we know the Gulf states are thriving because they've put aside some of this jihadist lunacy, people will start being more successful, and more successful, flourishing people are less inclined to become crazy radicals. And that's not what the people of Iran want. It is not what they had when they had the Shah of Iran.
Okay, there's a problem with that thinking, right? The only way you're really going to do that is to literally kill every single person that may be affected negatively by these interactions, these wars, these events, these strikes. Otherwise, there's going to be blowback. And if there's any inkling of someone that has something still undermining, then they're going to get back to you any way they can. If they don't have guns, they don't have armies, they're going to do it in another way that hurts you as much as it hurts their family. And that's probably called terrorism, jihadism, right? And if you want to, some of these, they put it into their religion so that it's more palatable. I was just listening to a thing about, two podcasts, the things that I heard recently. One was the BTK killer, okay? And then the other one is about the abduction of Elizabeth Smart. Now, BTK, he would bind, torture, kill was it Ohio? I'm trying to remember, for years, and from the 70s, and he finally got caught in 2000s. He wasn't super smart, but he got away with this stuff the whole time. And he would talk about these things later, where he would be like, I was going to go to the place, and I wasn't going to kill, I wasn't going to do this, but I saw this certain thing, and it was a sign that I should go forward. It's like, yeah, he's just making up shit so that it justifies him. It's the cosmic world, interacting with me to do this. Now, this other guy that Brian David Mitchell, I think his name is, that abducted Lives Smart. He was an offshoot of the FLDS, the fundamental LDS Church, Mormon, and he would do things, and he would be like, "Oh, well, God told me." So he was doing very similar. So he had, and when there was the final analysis that really dug deep into this guy, is like, no, one, he's a pedophile, and he uses religion to justify his pedophilia. Okay, so he would, do this to other girls, and he would justify it with some sort of religion. The religion was pushing him along. Okay. That happens, right? Justifications. So little David Rubin here, Rubenstein or whatever, and he's trying to make these accusations. You're not going to put this down. These people have been killed You think the all the families from the 160 girls, school that was just slaughtered out there, they're just like, you know what? That Dave Rubin has a point. We're just going to lay down now. I'm not going to ever concern myself with this. No, this is going to keep going on. And it has been going on, and it's circular, and they keep going back and forth. It's the most funny thing that you have this this mosque shooting, I guess, what it was. I don't even know. There's blowback from that. Looks like, which is going to happen. I'm sorry, it's going to keep happening, and it's going to come over here. That's why we don't go over there, because I don't want it over here. Oh, we fight over there so it doesn't come here. Okay, Riley. Yeah, next thing you know, Israel's bombing our towers. But you're gonna have some blowback at that point. So anyway, did I have another point to make on that? Possibly, but I don't remember what it was. Maybe it'll come to me. Okay, I want to play this last few little things here. This was I used to really love the Fifth Column podcast. Lately, I haven't really enjoyed it, but I thought this was fascinating.
I think
this is former Governor Chris Christie. He ran for president a few times. He's going to talk here about. Let me see. About Jared Kushner.
Single biggest reason Jared got into the Trump White House was to ensure that his father would be pardoned.
But people who don't know, who's his father?
His father was, when I prosecuted him in 2004, the second richest man in New Jersey. He hired a prostitute to seduce his sister's husband, videotaped it, and then on the day of his sister's son's engagement party, an engagement party that he was going to attend, he had the videotape delivered to his sister's house so she could see her husband having sex with someone else.
You are the head of the transition in 2016. There's going to be some interfacing with Jared Kushner, I'd imagine, right?
Much to his chagrin, yes. Yeah. The day that Trump was naming me, he went into Trump's office and said, "You can't do this," in front of me.
In front of you?
Oh, yeah.
And what was the argument?
I'm immoral, I'm a bad person, and said that it should have never been prosecuted. It wasn't a crime. It was something that should have been handled by the rabbis because it was a family dispute.
Oh.
And I just sat there and didn't say anything. And finally, Trump looked at me and said, "Are you going to say anything to defend yourself?" I said, "I want to defend myself to him." And by the way, I looked at him and said, "By the way, your father pled guilty to all 18 counts. So
there's some credit to Trump in this, that he said, "All right, fine."
Yeah, he named me anyway. But then, of course, he fired me because Jared just continued to pound me.
But that was Jared, you think, that precipitated that firing?
Oh, I know it was Jared.
Okay.
Because both Donald Trump and Steve Bannon told me it was Jared.
Okay, so the Talmudic, it's like Sharia law should take care of this, not the wonderful United States. Say what you will about Christie, okay? If you remember back in the days before Trump, he was coming to prominence. He was the governor. He won in New Jersey. Like, what are the odds there? And he was quite the guy. He would go out there. He would destroy, especially teachers' unions, just destroy them. Very forceful person. So fat and everything you want to say about him, perfectly fine. There's a lot I disagree with him about. I doubt he's a pushover. Okay, even in that situation, so you don't get there. Have any based far right influencers admitted they were dead wrong and were played by Trump 2.0 and PayPal mafia? I don't know. Good question. Literally talking out of both sides of their mouth. If I had to guess, Michael Malice and Dave Rubin have kissed. Possibly. Would Malice have to get up on his tiptoes for that? Dave Rubin is looking more and more like gay and like he's got AIDS of some sort. Chris Christie looks so new Jersey, it's not even funny. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably the most Jersey-looking guy ever. I don't know about the most. What about Cuomo? I know he's in New York, but I mean, he's kind of cheap-looking too. Okay, let's. We're winding this down. We're gonna play a little Ron Paul, Dr. Paul here. Let's take it away. Wait.
But there's a political liability, which I think is something that we fail to look at because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in. You know, Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and it served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have an election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. You know, it just doesn't make sense. During the 80s, you know, we were allied with Osama bin Laden, and we were contending with the Soviets. It was at that time our CIA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world. So we financed the madrasa schools to radicalize the Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets. There's too much blowback. There's a lot of reasons why we should oppose this resolution. It is not in the interest of the United States. It's not in the interest of Israel either.
I thought he was going to yell at some because someone's messing with the mic and they're like making a lot of noise. There's too much feedback. Oh, yeah. No, he's exactly right. And Melissa Wong posts that on there. That's what we're saying to Dave Rubin. Now, Dave Rubin, what was I thinking about? Someone put in here something. Dave Rubin. I had a comment I was going to make about him. I don't remember what it is now. He's just wrong. Okay. Last little bit here. Let's play this.
The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And
there you go. So he said they were going to attack us. Meanwhile, Karen Levitt says, to be clear, no such threat from Iran to our homeland exists, and it never did. These people, yeah, there's more on that. Let's get to this last bit. This last one I saw come across. I think this guy just become a sad person. I used to really enjoy Glenn Beck, a lot of his stuff with Stu. But we'll just play this first thing. It comes about, someone's asked, will your son join the military? And this is, I couldn't get past the first bit, and I'll stop kind of where I stopped as well, but here you go.
Okay, so I can talk a big game, and I think this is what Robin was saying in a nice way. She was saying, you know, Glenn, okay, so her exact quote was, when is Barron and Glenn's son going to join the military? Well, I can't speak for President Trump, and I can't speak for Barron. I can speak for my son. My son and I had that conversation this week. This week. If you don't know what you want to do, if you might want to consider, now is the time to join the military.
What?
Why would you say that to your son? We're at war. Because I believe we have a president who's not going to put our soldiers through an endless meat grinder without any thought. He is not going to send a single soldier out without the ability to shoot back and kill them, okay? If you're going to go into war, you want to go in with a warrior. You want to go in with somebody who is saying, I value your life over the enemy's life.
And that's just so. Is he going to be in charge of JAG, the Judge Advocate General, and you know, court-martialing and taking to guys that just go out there and start shooting around, maybe doing some war crimes that we saw, you know, and Anthony Aguilar was talking about. As far as like, you know, private guys shooting in feed lines in Gaza, right? We're able to just shoot back. Okay, yeah, that's fine and dandy. I don't think I would want to subject the military. We're kicking guys out for not taking COVID shots. Yeah, but Trump's is he? He was pushing that, right? I don't know that this is the time. I just... Send your kid there, Glenn. Send your child, and then he can go and he can die in this war perfectly fine, and then you can call him a hero, and you would say, oh, you know what? Matter of fact, I know that if he had a chance to come back, or to know that he died for some Israeli child, or you know, Donald Trump, he would say, no, the sacrifice is too much. I do not want to come back. And Glenn would be, yes, I think it's much more important for Israel. I know you guys mock me for saying Israel. Israel and this war against Iran is much more important than having my son back. Okay, if it's the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk sentiment. He would not want to be able to grow up and have a normal life. He wants to go out there and die for this cause. It's so amazing. It's like, you know what? Is it, you know, Glenn Beck, you have your son, do your thing.
That is a career-ending slur.
Bitch. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to tyleryonke.substack.com. Go there, sign up, become a member. And we will do all kinds of fun things. I appreciate you guys coming in here. I hope you have a good weekend. I'm going golfing Sunday. I'm going to immediately, right now, I'm going to head out to Knee Deep Brewery to get some. They have to-go packs today. And I'm going to get some drink this weekend. But just tomorrow, maybe Sunday I'm going golfing. Should be a good one. I really appreciate everybody coming in here. But tyleryonke.substack.com. Don't forget to like this stream. Last week we got some payments. This week none. Maybe I'll do one on the weekend just to try to spruce it up a bit more, people. I also played the wrong outro last time. So here we are. I hope you have a good weekend. Ice Ice baby. I'm just kind of later, y'alls.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any like knowledge of the real world,
none of us are screaming, "Let's kill Tyler."
Tyler says, "My
Jewish princess." You low key, you're one of the funniest dudes like in the like Liberty world that I know.
more or less, eat shit and die. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in like rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Do you see what he just did to Tyler?
I feel like you don't get the appreciation for your humorous wit.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?